right, happy Monday, everybody. We'll get started here. We got straight up 11 o'clock. Thank you for joining us. I got with me Joanna Rao, who's our MLS manager. My name is Jason, and today we're going to talk about ShowingTime, Realist, and if we get some extra time, RPR. I can tell you, we did this as an MLS Express class live last week. And had a good handful of people in the classroom, but we only got through two of the three. We had a lot of interaction, a lot of topics, a lot of discussion, which is always good as well. So we do invite you to go ahead and put your Q&A in the questions if you've got questions, so that we can answer them for you.
So this is your dashboard. So what we're going to go through today is things that you can do to enhance your overall experience with ShowingTime, Realist, and if we get to RPR. Right now, you probably use this to set up showings, okay? And you probably use it to set up your showings. But there's a whole lot of stuff that people aren't using that are tools that will give you the power to have some automation in your business. The reality is realtors are very busy. When you have automation abilities, it's also fantastic to be able to integrate that into your business. So I'm going to highlight some things. If you haven't done them, take some notes. And then we are recording these once our website's up and launched. A Q3 project for us, which is June, July, and August, is to get these recordings somewhere so you can go back and kind of look at them. So these MLS Mondays will be recorded. So first thing we go to right here is your profile. So you can go ahead and edit your profile, and you're going to have information on here with regards to phone numbers, main lines, etc. This is all customizable. You can put whatever you want to put in here, but you need to have your mobile number be your mobile number. You're not going to get text messages. You're not going to get those types of things without your mobile number being up there. Okay. And you can add up to 3 phone types. So, if you're still in 2002 and you have a pager, you can add your pager in here. If you have a direct line in your office, you can add that in there, etc. So you have the ability to do that. Okay. All right. Then you've got down here your login information. So you can actually add in, and change your password, username if you want, etc. Then you get your listing and ShowingTime preferences here. So again, allow agents to request appointments online, yes or no. Okay. So if you do have, if you're in a situation where you're doing, luxury or maybe builder product and you're listing those, you may not want to have them request an appointment online. You may want to do it in person. If you're in an office in a broker, I had a broker conversation last week. In their office, they want everything going through their front desk because they know, how to handle every single one of their listings. They can do that. So this is kind of an opt-out. Okay. And then allow agents to request virtual appointments. Okay. So you in-person virtual or virtual and appointments only, or in-person appointments only. So some people don't want to vacate a home. Some people's policy is that they're not going to let somebody in just to kind of preview a home. This is where you kind of are able to go in here and set your defaults up. So for all your listings as an agent, you'll have a default appointments. You have appointment required. So permission must be obtained for any of the designed listing contracts. So again, owner occupied or tenant occupied, etc. The second is go and show. So appointments requests are documented and then immediately confirmed. So if you've got some vacant properties, they still have to require the request. This will be a go and show. They'll get an immediate response. And then last is a view instructions only. The showing agent immediately see that any notes provided, etc. So you've got 3 different types you can set up here. Most are using the appointment required. All right. Here's where it gets kind of fun. Everybody's got a different business model that they want. Some, if you got sellers that have pets, if you got, if you're doing a lot of construction stuff, that you may or may not want to allow overlapping appointments. Okay. Overlapping appointments means that Joanna sets an appointment up at 10 to 11. I can set up at 10:15 to 11:15. Okay. Some people are like, no, I only want one agent and their client in the property at a time. Okay. So that's where you separate this. So no is the default. It's exclusive appointment only by request. So If Joanna takes 11 to 12, then I have to go from 12 until 1 or 1 until 2. I can't overlap.
And that
Okay.
will affect what you see on that calendar too. If I request that, it's going to black it out. If you do allow them to have overlapping, it's not going to black anything out on that scheduler.
Correct. And there's good and bad with both. You just have to figure out your business model, what you want to do. Okay. Yes is the next one. No need to inform the showing agents. Okay. And yes, please tell the showing agents ahead of time. Again, it's a courtesy saying, hey, you may run into somebody else, maybe in that apartment or that house, and you may run into them. There's a lot of times, when I was practicing real estate, I roll up and I have clients in the car and there'll still be people showing. And unless you look at the app, you'll see that overlapping is okay. It is going to tell them, listen, there's overlapping appointments. You don't have to wait for them to leave. If you want to, you can, but somebody else may roll up behind you. Okay. So that's what that is there. Okay. And then next is the max of number of scheduling overlap. So again, how many people you want in the house. Now, if you got a hot product that comes off, it's vacant, don't care. Yeah, we all had them, right? Back in 2021, 22. Line down the driveway, you can add as many as you want. You may only want 2, may want 3. If it's vacant, you may not care. Okay. Next is buffer time. So again, allowing in between. So maybe it's a situation where the owners want to come back with their dog. They take the dog out for a walk. You have 30-minute appointments and they want 30 minutes to get back in the house with their pet. So there's a lot of reasons why you'd have buffers in between, but again, you can put a buffer. No buffer means that I can go to 11 to 12 if you have hours set up, or half an hour, 11, 11:30. And then Joanna can schedule immediately at 11:30 to 12. If I have a 15-minute buffer, it will block it out. Now, buffers are good. So if you only want one person in the property at a time with their customers, one agent, buffers are good. It gives them that extra time. People run late, and you don't want those 2 people running into one another. So that's what that's a good thing for. Okay. Next is showing agent details with your clients. They can share agent's company only, share agent's name and company, or share all agents' contact details. So this is again up to you. Some agents I talk to say, well, no, I don't want them knowing what agents see the properties, and I surely don't want their contact information, that type of thing. And some say, you know what, I really don't care. So it's all in what you want to do with this as well. Okay. And then again, here you've got notification for appointments on my listing. So how do you want to be communicated with? You don't have to do email. You can do one or text message, one or the other, when appointments are requested. Now that would be if you're setting it up and you have to call that seller and set it up with them, then you'd want to be notified, right? So you can take action. Obviously, text is faster than email, depending if you get notifications on your phone or not. And then when appointments are confirmed or canceled. So again, you want to know right away. And again, I would say, yes, you do. And however you want to be communicated with. Okay. If you do upgrade your service, which you can do, they do have the phone and showing time services as well. Okay. So you can set this up any way you want. So you don't want emails, you can take them off. You just want text messages, etc. So you have to have, it doesn't even let you do, you can do none of it if you don't want to be notified at all. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but it does a lot of that. Okay. Access information, enable secure access. So again, if you hit 1, you have to save it to your profile. And secure access is to the property itself. Feedback request. So again, request feedback from showing agents. Some people have their own process that they do, and they don't want this form going out. There's companies out there that do a phone call. There's companies that do a Survey Monkey, whatever. This is easy. It's packaged. Number of times to resend the feedback request. So you have a choice of 1 to 9, and number of days in between resend. So this is if they don't send your feedback. You may want to set that up so that they get notified again to get feedback. Allow agents to submit offers on my listing. So this goes into the offer manager piece. And so offer manager was added to your portfolio of tools last November. We're seeing about a 12% to 13% adoption rate. Some brokerages, some agents love it and some don't. Again, everybody's got a different business model. This just gives people a tool for it. So I'm going to kind of go over some highlights on this as well. So allow agents to submit listings on my offers on my listing. If you hit no, you'll no longer receive any offers on your listings through showing time. Okay, right? That's what that is. So if you, yes, they'll be able to use Offer Manager. Okay,
But you'll get an email all the same, so it's not just gonna be hidden out here.
correct. Notify me on offers. So again, as a listing agent, yes. As a co-listing agent, yes. And then you've got your text message or your email. Okay, so again, if I'm getting a offer, I want to know either as a co-agent, and I want that text message. Okay. And then I could also send offers to other people. So again, some people have assistants or transaction coordinators or office managers that they add onto this so they can help to help with this. Also, a good clue that came out of last week's meeting, they talked about, you know, when I'm on vacation, this is when I go in there. And if I'm on vacation unreachable and Joanna's taking over and kind of watching over my properties, my listings, I would add her on this just for that period of time, just for offers, right? I don't want her to deal with showings. I'm having somebody else do that, but I want her to deal with the offers. I would add her here, okay? And you can also do the same thing by adding them as a co-listing agent. Depends on what your brokers and policies are, but this is an easy way for that to happen, okay? All right, next on here is when I change an offer status, prompt me to notify the buyer's agent, yes or no. Again, this is going from, you know, you're going from an active to a pending type of situation here. You want to make sure they get updated on that as well, okay? So again, here's the buyer agent side. So that was the listing agent. As a buyer's agent, this is what I want, okay? So again, I'm doing mostly email. There's a couple things you get text on, which is when appointments are confirmed or canceled. Text message, this is a good one to have because you never know when you're out and about with the client that you're gonna get something that cancels. An offer comes and you're showing 8 properties. The offer comes at 11:30 and you're at your 10 o'clock appointment. It's two houses away and they just change it to pending because they just accepted an offer. So getting that text message versus email sometimes is helpful. When showing carts are assigned to me, again, for team leaders and brokers, this is imperative. I'll send you when showing carts are assigned as well. So a lot of things on here that you can do. Appointment scheduling, default appointment for new appointments. Again, is showing for this profile. That's what most people have. And then a default appointment link for appointments. So again, you know your habits and how you run your business. If you want a 30-minute appointment, that to be your default, then do 30-minute appointments. Very easy to do. And you can kind of do it by that. So again, lockbox access, we have super iBox. So you want to save that. And then if you have a HUD key, you want to go ahead and have that if you have a HUD key. Okay. And then again, in the offers manager, when an offer notification is sent, you automatically, this is grayed out, you can't undo it, but you can also do a text message. On offers you've submitted, okay? You can get a text message on that. And then this is additional preferences, new message notifications, and then new broadcast notifications, okay? And then also send messages. It defaults 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. only. You can do all hours if you want your phone to ring. Some people put it in sleep mode, etc. So that's the main ones here that you've got on that. So the other thing I'm going to show you real quick here, there's 2 things. And on the left-hand side, it's the mass add listing note. Okay, so this is on your listings. You can add a note for appointment required. And you can add it at the end of existing notes to showing time. So when you print out your showing time stuff, this is additional notes at the end of existing notes. At the beginning of the existing notes, if you want it to be front and centered, you want to do this. And then replace the existing showing notes to the agents will be this. So that showing note could be a lot of things. So when COVID was and when we had 2020, a lot of agents use this to talk about, make sure you wear a mask, use sanitizer, etc. I've seen agents use this to put the little booties on, to relock the door, to let them know that, this is just their standards. Again, some people have business rules. I've seen this setup where it says, do not leave business card in home. right? So they don't want a business card left on the counter or wherever you leave your business card at. So whatever you want this to be, this is a mass note to everybody. Okay, so you've got this. And then the other piece that people underutilize is the calendar sync. So this is kind of cool. I use this all the time. Okay, so showing appointments, listing appointments, show upcoming unconfirmed appointments, yes or no. For me, I defaulted a no because I didn't care if they weren't confirmed. I only cared about what was confirmed. And I don't care if they're canceled, they come off the appointment calendar. You can display past appointments older than 90 days. Okay. Last 12 months, 30 days, etc. So again, if somebody says, well, that house we looked at on Tuesday, the first one 5 months ago, well, you can go back in your calendar and see what that one was. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take this actual basically URL and copy it and put it into your either Google calendars, you can use it in Microsoft Outlook, you can use it in Apple Calendar, which is where I have mine. And then you copy and paste that, hit add calendar, it'll ask for this code, right? And then you'll hit sync now, and all of your showings will show up in your actual calendar. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
So did you use it?
No,
No.
I learned something today.
See, it's pretty cool. Okay. So you create calendar link, sync link. There it is. Copy. You just go copy on it and then go to your mail program and paste it in there. So YouTube videos on here all over the place. It's excellent. But now on your phone or your iPad or your computer, you've got all your showing appointments. So if you're doing other things like buyer broker meetings or consultations or education, you don't overstep it. You know, you got showings in what order they're in. It's kind of cool. And if you're sharing your calendar with people, they have that as well. So the calendar sync is a huge deal. All right. All right. So along the side, here's messages. I don't have any in here right now. People do use this, believe it or not. I went in here one day and I found I had like 35 messages. It's almost a chat type of situation. This is showings. So again, you got showings I requested, showings, make a new request. And here's what's kind of cool. If you've got an ID, okay, the actual listing ID for, let's say, Stellar, okay? And let's say it's a house that you know is in Punta Gorda, but it's in Stellar MLS. You put the listing ID and hit search, it will pop up. It will pop up. All right, got a question from Tyler. Go ahead, Tyler. You can type your question in. So as he's doing that, there, put that there. So, but yeah, you can get other listings from other places. So you pop it in there as long as you're using ShowingTime. It's kind of a cool little feature. This is the offers manager. So if you guys got questions, go ahead and pop them in there. I know Tyler had a question. Go ahead and put it in there. Type your question. We'll read it out loud and answer it. So again, this is the offer manager piece of it. So on my listings, I've got also my offers here. So when you do use it, you can sort it by date submitted of every single offer you've got. If you're staff or management and you're as a broker or team leader, you've got these two tabs here for offers we've submitted, offers are on our listings, and then submit a new offer. So we did do this here. I'm going to pull up a really quick, just a generic MLS number. I'm going to use this one here. I use these all random, so I'm not picking anybody, but. So we got this, and probably a little bit too late, but we brought this in order for us to go through and I don't think this will let me do it because it's not my listing. It might. Oh, it's yeah, okay. So it's an offer. Yeah, so she'll let me do it. So we brought this in order for us to track offers. We'll show you how that looks like. So here's the question. From the home menu under listing agent offer preferences, I can't select the option to receive text message. The requirement for this, I would say, I would say make sure that your cell phone number is in there and it's labeled as a cell phone in your actual profile. So what we found last week when we were doing this, some people had their office number in there. This information gets sucked over from Ramco in there. All right.
Okay, if it is, you can call MLS. They can try to double check your profile, but there's also a help button on the left. And Supra is super fast at answering. So if there's some kind of bug that's not allowing you to click it, they'll be able to open up your profile and go right through it and figure out where that issue is. So on the left-hand side at the bottom, they've got a chat, so you can chat with them while you listen to us.
Yeah.
And then they've also got a phone number there, but they're really, really good help.
Yeah. So either chat with them or call our office here and we can help you out with that. Not a problem. All right. So moving on. Should probably clear these, right?
You can just keep it at 5.
Okay. All right. So this is a listing here. I put the MLS number in, hit enter, please wait. That's the list I just looked at, right? So action would be, I'm going to go here, cannot submit offer form is off. So this is what you're going to see. Oh, that's why?
You're not an agent.
Okay. Because I suck at I'm not an agent. So I can't do it. But also if I have it off where I don't want offers on that house through Offer Manager,
Yeah,
is that not what you're going to see too?
it's both of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, so if somebody's not accepting it, but also we shouldn't be able to as staff.
we should have staff. Okay. So we can't do it. We'll have to use something else's. Well, but this way you go to action, very simple to run through it. You've got a ton of information you put into it and you send it. So this came in very handy for multiple offers and those types of things. All right. We're gonna leave that. Yes. So listing setup here again. This gives you, again, you can add your add notes to your listings, etc. Agent setup. So this is all the agents. This is actually the staff here. So it shows up on here. Office setup for brokers. Again, brokers can override and make, based on their policies, fill this out. They can require buffer times, number of max showing and overlapping, so that when they change this on the broker office side, your defaults then will automatically change to what your broker puts in place. So some of that is good as well. All right. So your contacts. So again, you can add buyers on here. I found this to be extremely helpful to do that if I add a new buyer and contact. So I know who I was taking out, etc.
Well, it makes it faster. When you go to set up those appointments, you're just selecting from your list of people. It's not sharing that information with anybody else, but it'll just make your life a lot faster.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then here's kind of a cool thing here with your feedback. So you got your feedback piece of it. You can design your form. This is feedback request email. This is all customizable, right? For settings. You can create a new template up here. And then start your own questions that you want to ask. He has multiple choice questions, add free text questions. You can rename the template to whatever you want. There's a lot of stuff that you could do here. I got an error on it. And this is the feedback form they currently have. So again, it's a generic feedback form. I can tell you probably 90% of the agents use that generic form, but you can also customize it the way you want. I've seen a lot of offices with, some people that are admins in their office come up with some really good, very specific to their brokerage questions and answers on feedback. So that's something to provide people. And then they also use that as a benefit to the seller going, listen, we have a very comprehensive feedback program. We have customized questions and So it's good for them. So office feedback there. And then this is feedback form design. So again, you can do one for the office as well for the brokers out there. The agents can do their own and the brokerage can do their own. So just heads up on that. And then this is the help and support piece that Joanna talked about. So it's thinking, and then above that's reports. So again, I'm not going to have any data in here because there's no listings or anything like that, but you've got one report you have to pay for right here that you can buy. It's a price benchmark. So if you buy now, I think it's $9.95. We found out last week. See if my memory is good. $9. So that's the benchmark. This will give you pricing at a very high level. And people in the class talked about they've used it for pricing reductions and market analysis, etc. Pretty cool. And then you agent activity. This gives you all your activity that you've done. So if you want to keep track of actual customers and how many showings you gave for a customer, again, was interesting when I ran my firm is I would look at agents that had, they would show 5 houses write an offer, and they had agents that showed 30 houses and write an offer, and then try to figure out what the difference was. And it was the time they took up front to find out what the customer wanted. They were able to finite the houses they went to and only show them things they really wanted, and got to understand them at a higher level. So it's interesting. All right. Any other questions on the Q&A piece from this? All right, cool. We're going to move on here next to Realist. And again, if we don't get to RPR, we will go ahead and maybe launch it. We will get it rescheduled on the queue on RPR, but I went by order of importance and underutilization. And it did the same thing for the class, but so this is kind of a cool new dashboard Realist has. I like it. And so a lot of people ask, what's the difference between this piece here and the actual like Damas analytics? And so this is going to give you high level 90-day trends, right? Just kind of where the market's going. So it's kind of like, pending sales, the last 90 days are up 28%. Your closed sale counts are up 21%. That's good for business. Total actives are up 7%, and month supply of inventory average is down 20%, down to 5. So we're starting to see a lot more activity happening in the real estate world as far as that's concerned here as well. On here, the only thing you really can, and mine will say Lee County, is select the county. So you'll see mine says Lee. You can go put Collier on there. You can put whoever you want on there to do that. You multiple. So if you put, put Collier, Glades, Henry, whatever you want to put, it will come up what that is. So this is Lee specifically. That's as granular as you'll get. But on here, then you got average sales and price. And you can, this is a nice bar graph as you do things with your customers, over year. Again, you select the county. Down here, it's blue, it's Lee. But I can go up here and hit Collier County and have the same exact thing. I hit apply, and now it's got the, it's got side by side. It's got Lee versus Collier. So, if you look at this MLS sales activity, we're much higher and stronger than Collier County. Okay, and it changes on all the graphs down here. Okay, including up here. So kind of a cool little thing that you have that you can play with. You can do different things on it. Again, it's really meant for high level trends. All right. So that's the dashboard, and then we go to search. So I like this. And if you are playing with 12.2.2 new search, they have access to that yet? Or is that no? Okay.
No, that'll be coming out in the next couple of months.
Okay, so the new matrix system that will be coming out for search looks exactly like this.
Yes.
It's the same search, right? So what you're gonna get is this. So I'm gonna go over here, Fort Myers, and I can go in here. I can put an address on, or a last name, or a listing number, right? A PID or an address. So I'm gonna go back out to my matrix here. I'm gonna hit my matrix. I'm gonna look for something that came and that was already sold. So we're not picking on things, something that's not too crazy. We'll pick on this house here. So I'm just gonna copy this MLS number here. Back to my Realist. So I got a choice here. I can do it by property address, which works, right? So if I wanted to, I'd put 3131 and there's C. Trawler Bend, number 6. We'll pull that up, and it's gonna hit it, and then you get down here, you do PID number, etc. So hit search, it's gonna pull it up, okay? So this is that unit, right? So
Yeah, they've got several units in that condo building, so it's pulling up everything with
everyone
that
is in it,
address.
yeah. So I can pick the one I'm gonna look at, which I'll pick this one, I'll proceed. That's where it's at, middle unit, okay? It's been sold, it's lot 2001, gives all the information here. So a lot of information on this. And I do like this, and I'll show you why in a second. So that's one way to actually search with this. The other cool thing you do here is listing number. So I have the listing number of another one I did, right? So I pop that in here at search, and it comes up a completely different parcel, right? So it's right here. And when you click on it, it's going to tell you the owner's name, tell you the sale price, the sale date. Okay, so 7/12, and then you hit report. So this will give you a pretty comprehensive report on stuff on Realist. And again, I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on this. A lot of you may know this already, but I want to give you as much data as possible how people are using this. So community insights, again, this is information, again, always be the source of the source. They have some things on here like, crime. This is reports you can actually hand to somebody. They can do their own research on it, right? But it's got tax information with PID numbers, strap numbers, and parcel IDs. Lot blocks and units are here, and your legal description. So again, a lot of good information just on the properties themselves. It's going to tell you tax assessments the last 3 years. Obviously, tax assessments going up. Prices, here's the actual tax assessments. Characteristics, again, people always struggle with, we're going to front lot and lot depth. So this is 85 by 125, pretty simple, right? 0.24 acres, 10,629 square feet. Single family home. Okay, MLS capacity of garages 2. Garage square footage 410. So there's a lot of data points in here that you can double check if you're listing a property. You can put that in there. 1401 under air, garage is 410. From porch or porch open is 85. That's your building. This is kind of cool. So this cell indicator, I don't know where they get their information or their data or what kind of artificial intelligence they're using. But every time I've done a class with this and I show people this, I've had people sending me text message going, that was, we had one that was 900. So they went out and reached out to this person and I'm getting a listing out of it. I don't know what they use for the cell indicator score. This one does not have one because they just sold, right? I showed you one that just sold. So it won't have one. But again, properties with high cell score represent the top 5% of the market most likely to sell and are 2.6 times more likely to sell than the average property. So again, if you're going out and you're looking at a neighborhood and you want to do a search by cell score, that would be powerful. Look at the people looking to actually sell their home. They have a real AVM, which is CoreLogic's a kind of a valuation, if you will. So they have a real AVM of 279.9. The range is 261 to 298.6. Confidence scores of 93. So confidence scores goes from 50 to 100. 100 is always the highest. So 93 is pretty good. Okay. Forecast standard deviation 7. Rental trends. I love this too, because you always get customers going, we're looking to do this. We may not be able to move down in 5 years. What do we do with rental trend? The rent. What's the rent going for? Another great one. So the question is this access to MLS. So if you go to your dashboard and you go to Realist, that's where we accessed it. So from your dashboard to Realist. So if you're logged in there, you should be able to get to it. Keep pulling that one up. But this gives you kind of a range, okay? And it also gives you a cap rate. So again, if you work with investors, you work with those types of people, it gives you quite a bit of information on that. All right, so then you have the listing information. So it's currently pending with contingencies. It's listed at 290. That's the MLS number. I got some more questions. All right, let me pause for some questions, identification here. information from the property appraisers. So they get information. So the question is a property from the property appraiser's website? Yes. So CoreLogic at its root, if you looked at CoreLogic's website and their information with regards to like who they are, CoreLogic is a big data company, right? When you talk about big data. So they're pulling information from a lot of different sources. Yes, property taxes, tax assessor's website is one of them that they're pulling from. They also have, so if you look at CoreLogic, not to get off on a tangent, which is easy for me to do, they have we use their MLS, we use Matrix, right? We use Realist, which is a product that they have for a lot of different organizations and business segments. They also do insurance. So they have a system that helps people identify if you got a house that had 15 claims on it, right? What were the claims? Was it a fire? Was it a flood? What happened? So there's databases on that. They also do data on appraisers, which is part of the real estate segment. They also have data on counties. So they have all this information. They pull all this data through all these different data sources. So yes, they do use appraisal information, use property tax appraisal information. They do use information with regards to county government. They also are integrated with the MLS. Obviously, they have the MLS number up here, so they get it there. So there's so much information that they're pulling into one side. The idea is that as a listing agent or a buyer's agent, you should have to go to one place, right? That one place should be Realist in my mind, from that standpoint. There's a question about it being recorded, have access. We will get access up and running. That's a Q3 project, but we will, and we have a list of people that are here, right?
Yep.
So
yeah, so all of our classes that if you've been here regularly, our MLS Monday classes are all recorded. We have them all stored. So once they launch the new website, they will all be up on the new website in Q3.
Yep. Yeah, and that's why we're recording it. So, the idea is us to do a lot of these, ideally do about 40 of these a year, 45 a year, and then record them so you guys have access to it. So we definitely want to give you the information on it. Okay. So this is all the information here. You click on the actual listing itself. It's going to come up to listing with history. Okay. So you'll be able to do that. That's that listing number we just pulled up. Okay. Realist, it integrates directly in it. All right. Then you have the listing number. So 218 was 2018, 2005, 2005. On one it was sold, on one it expired. It was listed at 105.9. Now it's listed at 188,490. Or actually, it was original list price was 188. 164 is the actual listing price, and it closed at 164,990 full price offer, and the close date here. So it has the information that you would need on it. Last market and sales history, again, deed type, owner's name, seller's name. Again, all the information down here. So it's got a ton of information, and even kind of cool, you can see what the actual lot looks like. So one of the requirements or MLS rules is that you put the dimensions of the lot. People say, where do you get those from? Well, right in the bottom of Realist, that every single one of these listings or every single one of these properties will have the dimensions of the actual lot. So, and in Lee County, some of them are very much rectangular, some of them very much just all over the board. So it's a good way to check on that and look at it as well. So, but that's the street map with the dimensions, and this is where it's at on Google Maps. All right. Next, I'm going to comparables. This is probably one of my favorite items on this. So when you look at doing, CMAs, regardless of what software you put it on, okay, regardless of what software you put it on, where do you get your data from? Where are you getting your listings from? So this has got on here the map up on top, and I got down here, I got the data. So I'm going to start with the map and hide this. So on the right hand side of the map, you're going to have this crazy little box over here. It's going to have a high low. So if you roll over it, so I've got on this particular property, I've got a low of 82,000. I got a medium of $2.9 million, and I got a high sale price of 11.6 million. That's crazy. These are the comparables, right? So as I get rid of the map and I just go down to what these comparables are, it's gonna tell you sale date. And then what each of these are here. So you obviously want to get the most likely and get rid of what like this stuff is here. But if you do have that, all you do is double click on it. It's going to tell you what it was. Okay. And that, I don't know why that came back to that.
It's pulling all of the example ones,
Oh, that's
their
what-
history.
Okay. I only want to pull this one here. I want to find out what this is. Price per square foot was 8.3 million or $8,300. Which this was not that much money. For some reason, it's in the MLS wrong. So we go down to the actual, and there's that sell score, right? It's moderate or high at 625 or 629. It's gonna hit this box right here. That's the appraised value, AVM. That's your rent. I'm gonna see what it says here. So sale price, it's got 11,605,900. So I don't think that happened. Joanna's gonna take a picture with her phone or take a note.
Was Googling it. I don't know.
I just don't think that happened.
It only happens when we're on live, folks.
Yeah, that's 80 by 126. I don't know. That's what I said. I'm looking at this. I'm like, okay.
But what's interesting too with this, because somebody asked earlier if it comes from the property appraiser's office, if you're doing your comparables out here, it will tell you whether it's coming from MLS or if it's coming from the tax roll. So you'll be able to see multiple sources out there. You're not just doing your comparables out of the MLS, right? Because we have a lot of stuff that closes out of the MLS that's in the tax roll. And you'll be able to figure out whether it's a good comparable or not. You know, if somebody just did a quick claim and it was $20 or something stupid, you know, you can take those things out, but there can be good comparables in the tax roll that you want information for.
Right, and that's an example there, because I also got this one here for $2 million that I don't think is real either, but we'll look at it. This is good to examine. So again, this was listed at 185 in 2005. Who knows what happened back then? That was wild, wild west date and time. But again, it's got very high score, 843 sell score right now. The real AVM is, you know, 325 to 346, rents at $2,000. And then we go down here and sale price at 2.9 million. It recorded 5/14 of 2024. So that was $2,020 a square foot. Crazy. All right, you got this one too. Sale price of $2 million.
I don't know where you clicked on the map, but I think you went out of the area. Okay. You've got a few more questions too.
All right, going back to questions.
You can, I think if you were to alter your search, like back when we were on the search screen, you can add a lot of features in there and they pull in the MLS searchable features for the question is, does it tell if its back is facing south? So if you're just trying to determine that for the listing input, just open a map and see which way it's facing. But if you're trying to filter and you want to just see properties that are facing south, you can alter your search within Remine. And there's a lot of features that you can add in there to that search.
In Remine?
Sorry, in
Realist.
Realist.
All right, and then the bottom one?
So can you create a CMA from here and use it for a listing presentation?
I mean, you can collect it. Here's what I would tell you. I would tell you can do the data from here. And it's a great way to pull data, right? Because if we go back to these other ones that, you know, on the search side, we have a lot of properties in here that we have a lot of data for that are comparables. And if you look at this here and get to this property here, this was the one we pulled off the MLS. If you remember when we started doing this, went to our comparables. On the bottom here, you'd be able to basically look at comparables, apples to apples. So,
and at the top, there is a generate report button.
Yeah, there's a report you could generate. So on this, I would not use that 2.9 million, but I would use this one here, which is 82,000. possibly. I mean, it's kind of close to what I'm doing here. But you can click the ones you want to do here. So I'm going to click just a bunch of them arbitrarily, right? So I'm not looking at them apples to apples, 100%. I'm not going to use the $11.6 million one either. I'm going to do that right there, okay? And that's all the ones I've got that I want. I can then generate report here, but those are the ones I'm going to use. So if you generate report on the comparables, you got that right there. Back out a little bit so you look at it. And then as you go down your report, this is kind of telling you, here's your high, your low, and your medium subject property, right? Bedrooms, baths, total, so everything matches there. You're built. And then you got your real AVM down here, 279, 343, 282. These are all the comparables that I grabbed on the average. And then here they are right there, it's comparable 1, 2, or 3. So you literally could do this as a CMA because it's got the 1, 2, and 3 up here. Again, I would look and do a lot more research. I just did. So I just kind of grabbed them, but these are all your comparables right here. And you'll see where, aluminum siding versus concrete block and stucco, attached garage versus detached garage, garage compared 2 to 1, right? So you got these different things here that you can look at. So you could literally do that, okay? Next on here is market trends, another area here. So again, total closed sales, this goes by zip code, folks. So this is not going to give you, it's not Lee County like on the dashboard, it gets down to zip codes. So in this zip code, the average price from 5-year March average 241 to 324, total active listing count 379, 5-year April average 238, so we're down. This gives you a lot of information going into this. 5-year average in April is 50 days, days on market is 59 now. 5-year March average on sale price square foot was 124. We're at 171, 95% ratio, sale price to list price, etc. So you have a lot of this information here. Here's the other thing that's probably worth its weight in gold. This has got tax data versus MLS data. So if you look at MLS at 342, tax data says 324. So a lot of times sellers and even buyers look at what's on Zillow or Realtor or whatever and determine a price. What you're missing is what's off market. So your for sale by owners, your builders that don't participate in the MLS, your basically your quick claim deeds, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of those off market transactions are going to show up under tax versus show up here on the MLS. So there's really two different buckets on this information. That's the same thing down here. You look at tax number of sales versus MLS number of sales, right? So you got one on tax. So again, $4,000, so average per square foot. But I'm just saying, I mean, I think that when you look at this comparison, you want to make sure you look at both on that. And the same thing with change in sales activity. You put the tax in there and it looks completely wonky. You're like, why is it upside down? Right? Because there's tax sales that aren't being taken into account because they weren't in the MLS. So always know that there's always, those things out there as well. All right. We got a few questions before we wrap up here. Which is more accurate MLS tax? You need to add both. You got sales that are happening off market. I'll give you an example. There's a couple of builders that build in Cape Coral. They build to spec. They deal with the buyers directly. They record the sales. That's going to go through tax data. So if you're in an area, a lot of new construction, they may or may not be in the MLS. So you'll have to look at both of them because both activities, I think, are relevant. The sellers and the buyers don't see the MLS data. Again, when you talk about building value as a realtor, you got information that they had no access to. And again, all this is printable, all this is exportable. You should be able to sit in front of them and say, this is what I know to be a fact. And they say, well, this is kind of priced kind of low or kind of high. You can bring out the tax data and say, well, there's actually 3 that are actually priced higher or lower than what you're looking at. Here they are, because you got the tax data, right? And again, it's high level. You're not getting the details of what properties or addresses, but at least you know those things were filed. And again, it's for sale by owners and builders are the two ones, and then your quick claim deeds are in there as well. So to answer your question, they're both very, very accurate. All right. Anything else you want to add, Joanna, before we wrap up here at the top, almost the top of the hour here? And again, we did not get to the RPR side standpoint, and we didn't get through everything on here. So we will schedule more of these types on the MLS Mondays moving forward.
Yeah, if you guys have any suggestions, you can send them into the MLS@rpcra.org. If there was one that you want more in-depth attention for, but we have done Realist in depth before. I think we've got Remind coming up on the calendar as well. So there's lots of different ones where we'll take a deep dive into everything.
All right, everybody, have a fantastic, productive week. Hopefully we answered all your questions and you got something out of today. Appreciate you joining us. And again, next week, we're going to have another MLS Monday on artificial intelligence. So should be a good topic. So join us next week as well. Thanks.